Here's a little bit of Salvador music, Brazil music. Today's live, we're going to be talking about the culture of Brazil. Welcome to Dakini Messages. We're going to be talking about Brazil. Welcome, Brian. Welcome, Brian.
Thanks for having me, Renee.
You like this music?
Oh, you got DJs up in here tonight.
Hey, everybody that's coming on. Hey, Jean. Hi, Tadu. We're going to be talking about the culture of Brazil. So I invited Brian on here today to join us on our live because Brian was one of the first people that I met living in Salvador as a newbie. Boa noite, Tadu. So it's interesting. In 2011, I ended up moving in Brazil and I met Brian at a ceremony, at an ayahuasca ceremony. So it was so interesting. Que
You
pasa,
met me before
Jean?
that. Remember, Joshua introduced us.
Oh, my bad. Okay, why don't you tell the story how we met?
um,
Tell the story how we
while I was
met.
living, with a tour guide at the time. My roommate was a
Oh,
guy named
yes.
Joshua,
Yes.
and Renee was somewhere in Pelourinho, and he probably approached you trying to get you to go to Candomblé because that's
Yes.
his hustle.
Yes.
And you guys got to talking. I'm sure he was doing most of the talking because he's a talker. And you probably mentioned ayahuasca.
Yep, that's exactly it. How
And
can
he
I
was
forget?
like, "Oh, my good American friend knows all about ayahuasca. You need to talk to him." So he connected us. And yeah, that's how we got our start.
That's right. That's right. So condom lay. So actually, I believe I did go to a condom lay ceremony with him. He was my tour guide. And so that's how I met him. So I went on, and in the van we were talking, and we did meet in Pelourinho because I was living in Pelourinho at that time. And so that was one of my very first condom lay ceremonies that I went to. Hello, Imani. And so condom lay, for those who don't know, is one of the religions in Brazil. It's an Afro-Brazilian religion that really stems from the culture of Africa, and it's held on to a lot of the African roots. And so it was just really beautiful to witness that ceremony, and I've witnessed several others after that. And so, yes, so the tour guide Joshua told me about Brian because somehow we started talking about ayahuasca, which is another ceremony that I've drank. If any of you have watched the Black Panther in Wakanda, you know that drink that they drink to go back and connect with the ancestors. I would say ayahuasca is kind of similar to that. Um, and so then Brian was leading an ayahuasca ceremony. Were you leading at that time in the Moho when we met? Or
I had already no, I had already led in other places, not quite yet in the Moho. That was just the first time you and I had done one where I was leading. We went to Fonte Violeta
mm-hmm.
the first time,
Okay. Okay,
which
I'm
was
glad your
late.
memory's great.
Yeah, I think either the end of that same year that we met or the very early the next year we had a session in the Moho.
Okay, okay. So the
Yeah.
Mojo, for those who don't know, is where I used to live in Salvador. It's the favela, also known as comunidade. And so it's in Rio Vermelho in Salvador, Bahia. And a lot of times on my retreats, I take the people to Rio Vermelho because that is my favorite neighborhood. And so the Mojo is where I used to live up in that community. And so one of the things we used to have a clinic with another American expat named Seth, who's an acupuncturist. So a lot of us would do the ayahuasca work together. Um, then I started working at his clinic, and we would do Reiki, acupuncture, and different things. It was just on Sundays for free for people in the community to come or whoever wanted and didn't have money, couldn't afford to go. So it was really nice. But Brian, what brought you to Brazil? How did you end up just living there?
Hmm. Yeah, that's a good question. I've answered this question so many ways. I guess I was living in Atlanta a couple years after I finished college, and just really had a really bad day at work, and that week I had met some people from Europe, and they were speaking German and French, and then when I came around they go back to English, and I felt very jealous. I felt very gypped, and I thought that my education wasn't complete because I couldn't do that.
Right.
So a couple of more weeks of bad days at work, and I just said, hey, I need to learn how to do what they did, because to me that's real education, that's real cultural. So um, within a month, I got the idea of first thing was I'm leaving the country. I didn't know where, I didn't care where. So um, I just knew in my soul inwardly that I was going to go somewhere and it was going to be all right. And interestingly, on the job, before I decided that I was going to choose Brazil, I met a woman, a client who was a clairvoyant, and she just started reading me. Only thing she knew was my name. I didn't tell her my birthday. I didn't tell her much about me, but she
Wow.
said, "You're going somewhere tropical, and stay away from adults. You're supposed to teach the kids."
Oh wow.
And she even gave me a new name. She says, "You're not really a Brian. I think you're more like a Sebastian." And probably within the next week or two, it came to me. Brazil just popped in my head, and I got focused and locked on Brazil. And uh, I left Atlanta, went to San Francisco, got certified to teach English as a second language, because my plan was to start in Brazil, and then I go to Argentina, Chile, and then I get over to Asia, and I was going to eventually wind up in Africa, where I have more languages, and I was just going to, get me some land and uh, live kind of a nomadic life. Uh,
And obviously that didn't happen yet anyway.
no,
So
did not happen. Brazil got me hooked.
how long have you been in Brazil?
I have been in Brazil, wow, 18 years.
Oh my God. I don't think I realized that.
Yeah.
What's kept you so long here?
Um, well, a lot of the space of the many different stimuli that Brazil offers is not really your average country. It's so
No, it's
many
not.
different layers of history, of various healing modalities, culinary. I just got hooked. It was something that I didn't expect. I really didn't. Sometimes I still ask myself, how am I here this long? But um, I've always found something that has kept me. Part of the healing work has been of it. Um, Ayahuasca has probably played a very big role, but even beyond that, though I'm currently living in Rio, I was living 4 years on a farm. So we even did ayahuasca sessions out there on the farm, but I was attracted to, learning some new skills, some permaculture, planting skills. So that's one of my new families and communities that have cultivated my experience here a lot.
Okay, okay. Hello, Jimmy. Hi, Tazin. That's for coming on. So listen, we're talking about Brazil and the love for Brazil and what has us keeping us there. If you guys have any questions, now's the time to ask. Ask what you want to know about Brazil, what it's like to live in Brazil. Brian's been in Brazil for 18 years. I've been in Brazil for 8 years. I guess I got another 10 years to go to catch up to him. Maybe I'll never catch up, huh? 'Cause he gonna keep living here. Hi, Layla. Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming on. Again, ask whatever questions you have. Um, And so, okay, so I know Brian is talking a lot about ayahuasca and stuff. There's also some fun things to do in Brazil. You know, I guess one of the things that I really loved about Brazil was the food. The food. That like Afro Brazilian food, moqueca, acarajé, got flavor. I mean, I'm also living here in Rio. Brian and I are both living in Rio now. Met in Salvador. Rio, the food is good too, but not like Salvador, man.
Agreed. Totally agree.
Like they put their foot in it in Salvador, and so yeah, the food, the caipirinhas, the drinks. Yeah, wow. The food is like, you know, I've never been to Africa. Have you? So you haven't been yet either, Brian.
No, I haven't gone yet.
Okay, but I've had people tell
I'll
me
be going in
that.
December.
Okay, in December. So I had a
Yeah.
friend of mine from Ghana who, and I have met other people from Africa who's been from the, you know, from different countries within Africa, and they're like, you know, they could really see the similarity in Bahia, in Salvador, you know, and the foods, you know. Um, so one of the things about Brazil that I love is that more so than in the U.S., it's held on more closely to its African culture than in the U.S. Do you feel that way, Brian?
Definitely. Brazil, to me, one of the things that defines it is that they really treasure and honor their traditions. All of them, especially the culinary tradition. I'd even say the religion and ideology practices also. They hang on to those. They honor those. If you even notice here, there's a lot of streets that are named after people they really respect a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they be religious, whether they be governmental, whether they be people who've made major contributions. And yeah, they still hang on a lot, especially in Bahia.
Mm-hmm. So I think I know. So I got you on here, and I'm glad I do because it's just been Jasmine and I talking, two women. So I think it's good for the guys because I've been having guys come on. Jimmy, Gene. I don't know if he's still there. There's been a lot of guys coming on. Tadeo. So it's good to have a male perspective here and not just hearing from women all the time. So you know, I'm gonna ask you a question. What's the dating like in Brazil for from a male perspective?
Hmm. Well, because I've been here a little bit longer than the average person, I mean, I'd have to divide it up into phases. Usually when a guy come here, they're definitely in that grass is greener phase. It's just the newness of women that are very different than maybe home.
Right.
Brazilian women get that label of being very exotic and hot. Uh,
Oh wait, let me
and
chime in.
overall, I
The
kind
men
of
are too. The men get that label too.
okay.
Go ahead.
And overall, I definitely see that. I have experienced that, especially when I'm in that when was in that first stage where it's just like overwhelmed with all the sensory um, of newness. So yeah, when I first got here, I dated, you know, um, wow, multiple dates, juggling several several different relationships, multiply at the same time. And there's some definite things that are different that I think that Brazilian women have in their personality and
Hmm.
their culture that makes them very unique and wonderful.
Hmm.
Um, they're definitely love being in love. They definitely love the idea
Yes.
of being in a relationship.
Yes.
Uh,
Oh, okay. So, Brian, Gina's asking you a question. People are asking questions. I think it's because Brian is on here. Oh my God, nice. Okay. The lady in Atlanta who did your reading, do you have her contact info? Jean wants her contact. Man, that was over 18 years ago.
yeah, I
Do
do
you
not
happen to have
have
her
that
contact?
woman's contact.
You don't.
I do not have her contact.
But Jean, I can get you
Sorry.
somebody who does readings, who's in between New Orleans and Atlanta. So just send me a private message and I'll send you her contact. She's really good. Okay. Jimmy, do you have any questions? You said that you haven't been out of the U.S. And what I asked Brian was a good question. So now's your time. Oh, he says, like what, brother? Like what in terms of what? Um, and while Jimmy's asking specifically his question, I don't know. Do you understand what he's saying, Brian? Like what?
He's saying the question, the lady who read him.
No, Jimmy's another person that says like what, brother?
I don't get that.
Okay, yeah,
I don't
can you
understand.
expand on that, please, Jimmy? Because we kind of moved on, so there's a little delay. So we might have forgot where he was, what he was saying, that you're asking specifically, like what? Um, but on to what Brian was saying in terms of like with the dating with the women, I find that Brazilians are so much more open, and there just is. So it's interesting. I went to the dentist today. So those who know me see that I have braces now. I had a crossbite, and so I broke a couple of teeth, but my teeth have been kind of moving inwards, and so now I got to do braces. But it was interesting because I came back. I went back today for the second visit to my dentist, and when I went in, the dentist was like, "Hello, Renee," gave me a hug, and then we walked back arm in arm, like she was hugging me the entire time to sit down at her in her chair. Hello, Bonnie. Hello, Derek. Thanks, you guys, for coming on. And so, I've been to the dentist several times. Hello, Lena. Several times in the States, and that's never happened. Like, I've never had a dentist hug me, hold me as we walk back to the seat. And so that's the difference that I've seen being here in Brazil, between being in the States. And I'm not saying one way is better than the other. I'm just saying for me, that's one of the things that drew me to stay here in Brazil and to love being in Brazil, that sense of community. Having people being more open, warm, they don't have to know you. They're just dancing. They'll start dancing with you out of the blue, so it's just great. Okay.
Brazilians are very communal. They don't do things by themselves.
Right.
Like let's just say you were traveling in a new town and you want to go to a restaurant. You would go to a restaurant by yourself. Brazilians won't do that.
Right.
They try to do everything as possible together. Um, I thought it was a little weird when I first got here, but now I've grown to love it,
Mm-hmm.
because we all do need each other. We do need
Right.
help. Um, the secretary at my school, I teach at two high schools here in Rio. The secretary at my school, every time she sees me, she hugs me. We had an incident where a student stole some material out of our classroom and she felt so bad.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like she feels the need to give me an extra hug now. So she'll like give me a hug before when I come to school, and she'll make sure that she times it so that when I'm leaving, she can see me again just to give me another
Wow.
hug.
That's
Um,
beautiful.
yeah.
That's beautiful. So Jimmy has so he says, like, what is the difference as far as the women there than in the US, which you kind of just answered really a little bit, and then how is the cost of living? So those are great
Um,
questions. Hmm.
on the women thing, overall at this stage, because I've just I've experienced a lot. I was even married once upon a time. I find the differences are very small, but there are some cultural differences that
Hmm.
I'll say. Um, American women are definitely more independent. Um, Women are taught to strive to get more, have ambitions and goals, and to go after them. Whereas here in Latin America, again, that mentality of we do it all together. So they the whole notion of a woman becoming more ambitious and more upwardly mobile, having her own money and travel, that's a very new thing here. We
Hmm.
don't we just have a few decades uh, running start in America, and that's one of the things that makes it differently, as well as just that notion that they're very nurturing. They want to share everything, and American women um, are just more ambitious.
Hmm.
Overall, I see more things in common and different today.
Hmm.
Some of the same things, the same problems you have, you're gonna have them here,
Right.
versus being at home too.
Right.
Cost of living. Um, Yeah, I could write a book on this.
And let me just say thank you again to those who are just now coming on, Christine and Leonardo. Feel free. We're talking about Brazil, the culture, many different things. Now's the time. Ask whatever questions you might have. You know, Brian has been living in Brazil for 18 years. I've been there for 8 years. So ask away. And Christine, you've been to Brazil. So please feel free to chime in on anything that you enjoyed about being here in Brazil and what you like. All right, Brian, cost of living.
Cost of living. Overall, your average U.S. salary can go much further here if you stay away from some of the major metropolises like Rio and São Paulo.
Mm-hmm.
Um, even
Salvador is
even
really
in
great
those,
for that. Mm-hmm.
yeah, Salvador, the Northeast in general, the cost of living is much more. Right now, your dollar goes very far. $1 is worth 4.12
Mm-hmm.
Brazilian dollars. So if you have 1,000 US dollars, that's over 4,000 reais.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that is, you can rent in the Northeast specifically, even here in Rio, you can rent a decent apartment with utilities, um, eat out every day
Mm-hmm.
under that if you
Yep.
follow my instructions, because there are some things that I think a lot of times people do wrongly. You have to find that biorhythm of what a 1 unit of the currency in Brazil is, which is the real.
Mm-hmm.
I say this for even when you go to any country, but find out what the weight of that singular currency, and don't translate it. You know, don't look at an item like this and say, "Oh, this is only $3." If you can stay away from that mentality and just try to put yourself on a daily budget akin to whatever the unit that you're accustomed to, which would be dollars if you're coming from America, you will do all right. But
Oh yeah.
4,000 reais from $1,000 currently will go very far. And even travel within, one of the best things that I like about Brazil, that let's say you wanted to travel from Rio to Sao Paulo, you can get a flight within, say, 3 to 5 days before leaving, and it's generally not that much more had you purchased 2 months in advance.
That's true. That's true. So on that note, with him saying that, with the currency where it is, the price of the flights, y'all need to come on the retreat. We got two retreats. Sacred Sister Soul retreat for women of color, and then we have the Sacred Union retreat for anyone, male, female, couples, singles. It doesn't matter what race, what, what creed, color, nothing. So the Sacred Union is in August, and the Sacred Sisters is in April. So now is really the time. You don't need a visa anymore. The dollar amount is really good. I mean, you're not going to spend that much money being here, and you can have a great time not spending much. So Christine, she said, "Yes, I loved it and was grateful. It was and was grateful that you were able to be a guide, because I showed her around, her and her sister. I don't think I could have made it, especially with the language barrier. The culture was inviting." So, Christine, what was one of the things that you loved the most about Salvador? And then Leonardo says, "It's a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you for having me. What a great conversation." Thank you, Leonardo, for being here. And then he also says, "Most important thing that we take with us in this life is the experience, the love for the next." Yes, sheer love and knowledge. Yes, Leonardo, thank you for that. Christine says, "Thank you for showing us places, probably not being able to visit if alone." You are most welcome, Christine. My doors are open. When you want to come back, let me know. I am here. So, yeah, yeah, I'm super excited that people are commenting, asking questions. This is a really good conversation, and honestly, I really, really love bringing people to Salvador, because Salvador is just an amazing space, and so that's why I started doing these retreats. It was so that you can go through what I've gone through, the beauty, the culture, the music, the dance, the lovingness of the people, like just how, what we've been saying, how people are just so friendly. One of the first things when I first moved here, I remember sitting on a bus and there was all these empty seats. I think I was on there, maybe like 4 people on a bus, all these empty seats. A lady came and sat right next to me. And this happened several times. And so this one particular time, I looked around, I'm like, okay, there's all these empty seats. And I looked at her and I was like, can I ask you a question? And it's, only because I'm a foreigner and I'm not sure because our culture is different. But there's all these different extra empty seats. What made you decide to come and sit next to me? And she was like, oh, so that we can talk and, connect with each other and just share stories. I don't know. And I was like, oh, wow. Because that wouldn't happen in the States, right?
Yeah.
Like in the States, there's all these
People want
empty
to guard
seats.
their privacy and their space, their personal space,
Exactly.
as
We've
much as,
been,
yeah.
exactly. We've been
She saw
conditioned.
that as a gesture of friendship.
Exactly. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, wow, that's beautiful. Hello, Paula. Paula's lived in Brazil and in Salvador for a long time. We're just talking about the culture of Salvador. So if you want to add something, please share, please comment. Would love to hear from you about what you loved about Salvador, why you lived there for so long, And so, one of the
Renee, can I
things,
mention?
yeah, go ahead.
I saw somebody in comments who said the language barrier. For
Mm-hmm.
those who are on the fence, I want you to know I don't have any research to back this up, but Brazilians are probably some of the most accommodating people on planet Earth for those who don't speak Portuguese.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to that, I'm an English teacher, and one of the things I've often said to other English teachers, you can ask 100 Brazilians who don't speak English, do they feel they should speak English, and 99 will say yes.
Mm-hmm.
So what English that they do have, they are definitely looking at. Many of them look at it as an opportunity, and they will use their eyes to help guide you as much as they can. And they'll ask a friend, even if they have to call them on the phone or a family member
Mm-hmm.
to help. If you don't feel it's a barrier, it will be a barrier. And that's
True.
one of the things I try to encourage people when they come into any country for the first time, especially if you're not familiar with it, is yes, bring your passport and your money and credit cards and a change of clothes, but bring a little optimism and a
Mm-hmm.
smile. It goes a long way.
Yes.
And when you throw that energy out in a place like Brazil, oh, it's going to come back several times in a positive return.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. Yep. Hello, Christina. Thanks for joining. So that is so true. That is so true. Yeah. Um, one of the other things that was interesting today, this morning, where I live at the very bottom of a favela here, so I have to go down this hill, and I was walking down the hill, and there was this old lady. She must have been like 70 years old, head full of gray hair. And she was walking up the hill and she stopped. And I just looked at her and she smiled and she was at me. She was like, cansaço. She was like, I'm tired. And I'm like, oh, like, but she smiled the whole time. She was like, she just smiled and she stopped and she just said, I'm tired. And at the bottom of the hill, there's little vans, there's little motor type taxis to take you up the hill. But she chose to walk. I believe she chose to walk, unless she just doesn't have the money to pay. But I would assume, as an elderly woman, if she needed help and she couldn't make it up, she would go to the van. You're in the community, they know you, they would have helped her. So they would have been like, yeah, you can ride, give a ride, no worries. Because that's one of the things when you live in a community, they look out for each other. And that's a beautiful thing. So, this is the first place that I've actually been able to go to a store in my community and buy something. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I don't have any money. Can I pay you tomorrow or next week? And they're like, okay, you know? And so I was just like, oh my God, the resilience of this woman walking up the hill, and she decided she chose to walk and to get that exercise in and to continue to be healthy and fit and strong. And I was like, that's another thing, man. I'd be barely making it up the hill. I'd be like huffing and puffing. But and that's what, and I think that's part of one of the things, living outside of the US, you tend to walk more. You get more exercise, so it's a lot easier to be healthier than in the States where you're sitting in a car, you're driving everywhere, you're not walking as much. So I've noticed that just living here, that's made a difference as well. And the people, when I brought them on retreats, like they've noticed a difference within that week of just feeling different. Hey, Jasmine. So so Jasmine's gonna be joining us in a few minutes. Um, so we're gonna be switching up. Unfortunately, there can only be two of us at a time. So I wish we could have three because it would be nice to have all three of us because Jasmine and Brian, they know each other as well. They go way back. So it would really be nice. But Jasmine and I are going to be manifesting our podcast. So as soon as we get that podcast going, then we can have three people or four people. So hello to the people that's coming on. Hello, Renee. Hello, Seven. Hello, Olamide, Brian, Torrance, Mars. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. So excited. So any last minute questions for Brian? Brian, is there anything you want to say before we switch off to Jasmine? That 30 minutes went by really quick.
It has.
Mhm.
Um, I'll just say this. I've been here longer than the average person, and of all of the great experiences that I've had, the one thing that I've really cherished the most, that being away from home. I was born and raised in Jackson, Mississippi, deep south, and I've had the luxury of having time to be alone with my thoughts
Mm.
and really been able to dive deeper into who I am as a person. There's a lot of activities here in this country. There's parties, there's celebrations, there's spiritual retreats. Um, but I've been able to have some long walks on the beach, on a trail, in the street. Excuse me. And I have really began to know a person that really is completely different than the person that first arrived here. And
Yes.
I will definitely put a lot of that on the country. And for anyone who's on the fence about traveling to Brazil, this is one of those, to me, special centers in the world that just has the ambiance that cultivates a lot of inner um, dialogue with yourself to go deeper into being able to realize yourself on multiple levels. And I recommend it. I cannot recommend a place more than this.
Right. And let me ask you, because I have, the August retreat is for men, and so often men don't come to do the healing work. So many men don't go to do meditation, to do different things. And so this is why I thought about, I've had guys lately ask me, don't forget us, don't forget us. And so we opened this up in August for men and women. I'm teaming up with Jasmine. What would you say to the men who are like, okay, I know I need to do something different. I'm not sure if a retreat is for me. Um, what do you recommend? Because you've done a lot of spiritual work. You've done retreats. You've stayed in different places. So and you've seen my work. You've seen, Jasmine. What are your thoughts? What can you say to men that may be on the fence to coming to do a retreat with us?
If if you have any angst or anxiety about someone um, recognizing you here, that probably won't happen. I mean, why not come? I mean, the backdrop of a new change of scenery in a country, in a city that you're unfamiliar with, it is.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be Brazil, but why not Brazil? It's an amazing place. Um, but as I said earlier, invest in yourself. There are so many sides and levels to your existence, and there is no such thing as knowing yourself too well.
Mm-hmm.
So
True.
why not? I don't care if the healing work is facilitated by woman or man. Find your community, and I do believe that what Renee and Jasmine offer is quite adequate.
Mm-hmm. Okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Um, do what? Okay, I know Jasmine is anxious to get on. So thank you so much, Brian. That was really, really good information. Let's see. Christine just said something right here, real quick. In Salvador, the people were very nice and curious, especially during the nightlife. Very generous. The food was great. Able to participate and see church ceremony was great. People were so friendly. I definitely would love to visit again when baby gets older so she can experience. Oh, that would be nice. They showed a lot of love. I definitely got a lot of exercise and appreciated scenery. I like seeing couples and people walk, so encouraging. Kudos to learning a new language, which is not easy to do. It's not easy at all, but can be done. So great. So thank you so much, Brian, for coming on. And so Jasmine will be coming here soon. I would truly, truly would love to come, Jimmy. Well, Jimmy, come on. We're here waiting for you. Maybe you get to meet Brian too, and he can coach you with the women here. So anyway, I'm surprised this wasn't X-rated with Brian. I think he was trying to be all professional here. He didn't want to scare you guys off. He don't know that me and Jasmine are ready to be off the chain. So
Mm-hmm.
Christine, next time I will try to learn a few phrases. All right. I will send you a few phrases next time. We're gonna plan it before you come. All right, so thank you again, Brian, and
You're so welcome, Renee.
you're welcome. You're welcome, and see you soon.
Okay. Take care.
All right.
All right.
So
Bye bye.
Jasmine is saying to Brian, "Thanks for being here, Brian. I have learned a lot from you, and I appreciate you for being a positive example. We are in this thing together. Estamos
Yes, we are.
juntos. That's what they say. Yes. And I have learned a lot from Brian as well. We will have to bring Brian back on another time because there's still more things that we could talk about. We haven't touched the surface of anything.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so we're gonna have Brian back on again. All right.
All right.
So
You
I
take
will.
care.
You take care too. All
All
right.
right.
Bye. Oh, and Christine, the best way to learn a language is to listen to the music. So get you some Brazilian music. Start listening to it. That's gonna help. All right, so Jasmine is coming on. We're going to continue our conversation about the culture of Brazil and what it's like being in Brazil, the dating, the music. Who knows what we're going to talk about? Hey, hey, hey. Here's that beautiful face of yours.
Hey y'all.
I miss seeing you.
Hi,
It's been what?
Billy. I miss you too. We missed a
I
week last
know.
week.
You're missing a week last. It felt like longer. I was like, has it
I
been two
know.
weeks?
I
So just a
know. I know.
week.
Yes. Hi,
So it's been good.
yes. Yes. Oh, I lost service for a minute. Okay. Can you
Okay.
hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great. All right.
Good. So it's been good. I know you've been, watching. We've had a lot of guys on here.
Yes.
Jimmy, Leonardo, another Brian. We've had a lot of guys. Gene. So it's just been good. It's been, I think, people have been interacting, asking questions. So, guys, continue to ask questions because Jasmine also lived here in Brazil for so long. I've been talking a lot too, so I'm gonna let you talk. Get right in there. Talk about your experience. What kept you in Brazil? Like, what did you love? What was your favorite thing? I don't know. Whatever you want to share. Let me rest my throat for a
Um.
little bit.
Well, first of all,
Let
you.
me
I
rest
must
my
say.
throat. No, I'm just joking.
Well, I must say I don't think I talk about that a lot. First of all, hey everybody. I'm so sorry that I'm late, but I'm so happy that you had the opportunity to connect with Brian. He is absolutely amazing, and I vouch for him everywhere I go. So
Hmm.
I'm so happy that you had the opportunity to meet with him. We will bring him back really soon. You had a huge part to do with why I moved to Brazil. Well, intuitively, because I've always been like this person who just kind of trusts her gut. And
Hmm.
so I was living in Chicago, Illinois. I had finished grad school, 9 to 5, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, shit, something doesn't feel right. It's like, I don't think I'm supposed to be here adulting right now. So I went to get a spiritual reading from my godfather, Padrino Carlos, and he said, you know, you're about to cross the ocean, right? And I was like, yeah, I've been
Oh,
feeling that, you know?
oh my God. Hold on one second. I'm getting chills. Because I don't think you were there for the beginning when Brian said that. And Jean, if you're
No.
listening, if you're still on, oh my God. So Brian said the
What?
same exact thing. He got a reading done, and the lady was like, "You're about to cross the ocean, travel to another country."
The calling is real, y'all.
Man, I'm getting
The
chills.
calling is real. And when Brazil calls you, you know it. It's like a pull, and you meet the right people. The thoughts come to you, your plans come to you. I mean, it's just amazing. And so, a mutual friend of ours who's from Chicago connected you and I. And I spoke to you, and your voice was so light. You were so happy. And I mean, you told me so much. I learned so much in a short amount of time, and I was sold. I was like, yep, I'm out of here. I'm going. And so
Oh
I
boy.
sold my furniture. I sold furniture. I sold my car. I sold my clothes. I left my
Wow.
job, y'all. And the rest is history. I was in Brazil for about 2.5 years. And it is the best, not one of the best, but the best choice that I have ever made. I mean, I came in when
Hmm.
Brian was talking about really finding himself and connecting with himself. And that's exactly what Brazil does for you.
Hmm.
It really helps you to get in tune with the true you, right? Because
Hmm.
um, I like to say here in the States, I can say it because I'm from here, and I've experienced it. I feel like we're taught, to meet so many expectations. And a lot of the times, identity is based on what you have and what you do and what you represent. But in Brazil, none of that shit mattered. Like,
Right. Right.
none of it mattered. And
Yeah.
so I was liberated, and it wasn't
Hmm.
always an easy process. I wouldn't be honest if I said that it was easy, but I was able to really, really, really find myself, my soul. And yeah, now I'm just happy to be able to share that world with other people, you
Hmm.
know?
You know,
And to
and
mention,
just
like when we were there, hmm
now I was just going to piggyback on what you said really quick about
yeah,
about how none of that matters. Like when you come here and you meet someone, um, no one asks you, what do you do for your living? Where do you work? No one asks that. That's like the last thing. They ask so many other questions to really get to know you. But, so it's different in the States. The first thing somebody asks is, where do you work? And it's all about, okay, where are you? What's your status in life? How much you're making? Brazil, they don't care about that.
yeah,
They don't care about that.
yeah, at all. At all. And there's just this
Hmm.
essence, there's this
Yeah.
energy in Brazil. Huh?
No, no, no. I was just reading.
What do you think?
Jimmy Matthews says he's looking for purpose, and then Brian
Yeah.
added a reply to Jimmy that he sold his car before he came to Brazil for the first time, 36 hours
Yes.
before his flight took off. Wow. Hmm.
Awesome,
Yeah.
Brian. Awesome. And I say too, just go for it. I think I heard Brian talking about that a
Hmm.
bit when I was tuning in. Why not? It's just do it. Just go
Hmm.
for it. Serendipity is so huge in Brazil.
Right.
It's so huge. Serendipity is a huge thing. So the spiritual essence there is so strong because in many ways it hasn't been tampered with. It's
Hmm.
pure and it's natural and it's raw. And so the power of your thoughts, I mean, it's so powerful, and your thoughts really are magnetic there. And so what I found happen is that I meet who I'm supposed to meet.
Yes.
You
Hmm.
know what
So
I'm
true.
saying?
Hmm.
Whatever I need to meet. And so I remember this. I was living in Açuzinho, which is like the country close to Praia de Forte. I needed to get away and be with myself. You remember I
I
had
remember
like
that.
I had an air mattress and a table, and that was
Hmm.
it. That was
I
all
was
that I
like, why the
wanted.
hell is she living there by herself? Like, but I know it was nice.
I
It's
needed to
needed.
be naked. I needed to
Mm.
just have silence, and I didn't have a lot of money. I had my herb and my mattress bed. And it was one of the best choices that I've ever made. But I remember saying, all right, I'm ready to move back to Salvador. How am I going to make this happen?
Right.
I kid you not. Somebody who was coming back to the States called me out of the blue and said, oh, I heard you teach English. I want to give you like 6 of my students. I'm leaving to
Yeah.
return to the States. You know what I'm saying? And that's just how the energy in Brazil is. Everything
Yes.
comes together.
Yes. It's so true. And that's one of the things I've always noticed. Like I've actually had my bank account at zero. I don't own a
Hmm.
credit card, not one credit card. So if I don't have the money, I'm not doing something. And
Yeah.
I've had where my zero, nothing. And I'm just like, oh my God, I need to do this. And somehow something happens, I get work, and then I get it done. And it's like, oh
Hmm.
my God. Or I meet someone, a chance meeting, I'm on the street somewhere, and then I meet someone who's like, oh, you're a native. Can you teach English? So when I first got here, I was teaching English, because I didn't know how to speak Portuguese. But now that, I speak Portuguese, I'm doing more of my field of work, as a psychotherapist, doing tantric therapy, working with sacred sexuality, the divine. Before, I was just teaching English. And teaching English, you can survive, you can do well. But in the beginning, it might be difficult. But the thing
Yeah.
is that no matter what challenges, what you're going through, it's having that faith and knowing that it's all going to work out and everything's going to be okay. There were times that I
Hmm.
didn't have the faith, but something would happen to give me back that faith. And it's like,
Hmm.
and I think that's how spiritual Salvador is. Like
Hmm.
so many things happen that really just makes you be like, oh my God, there's a purpose, there's a reason that I'm here. And
Yes.
especially, oh my God, and especially as an African American, you really connect to your roots. And that was a thing because I didn't go to Salvador expecting to connect to my roots. I was going because a friend told me to come meet her for carnival. So I was like, okay. And my parents are from Haiti, and growing up in the States, all I would hear is negative stuff about Haiti, voodoo, all of this stuff. But then being in Brazil, I really, started going to candomblé ceremonies, connecting with
Hmm.
nature, connecting with that Afro-Brazilian history, culture, and religion. I was like, oh, wait a minute. I started to figure out
Yeah.
all of that stuff talking down about other religions in the US is about really about dominating and controlling us. And so it was just so beautiful to be in Brazil and to reconnect to those roots and see that the voodoo religion is beautiful. There's nothing wrong with it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And after being in Brazil, I was like, okay, now I really got to go to Haitian voodoo ceremony. And it
Hmm.
happened, it happened. And so I realize here again, the people are so much more connected, and Brazil is such a spiritual place that magic just
Hmm.
happens.
Absolutely. And I always say that people who travel to Brazil are called to be in Brazil. I really believe that nobody goes to Brazil just because it is a spiritual calling, if that is what you choose to embrace. I have never been so close and so personal to my spirit. And I've never been surrounded by so many people who just genuinely loved me. Like,
Yes.
and took care of me. And what I loved so much about being there, we created a sisterhood there, a very strong bond in sisterhood. And we still take care of each other to this day. And it was so common to just walk down the street with my sisters holding hands. It was just okay to love. Nobody was afraid to love and to be loved. And the concept of fear there for me, it really didn't exist. I didn't deal with
Mm-hmm.
anxiety. I didn't deal with depression. Though
Right.
Brazil is a third world country, there are some challenges there. I always felt like I was safe, and I always felt like I was loved. And
Mm-hmm.
I knew that it was okay to love myself. And what I love so much about Brazil, the people didn't judge. Like I
Right.
explored. We all explored together.
Mm-hmm.
But I explored my sexuality. I explored my mental health. I explored my physical health through dance. and nobody judged. It was just
Exactly.
okay to
Mm-hmm.
really be yourself and to express yourself. And I brag about Brazil all of the time because I was around a lot of people, Brazilians who didn't have a lot of money, but they
Mm-hmm.
still lived their life, you know, and it didn't take a
Yes.
lot of money for them to live their life. And relationships were always so valuable in Brazil. Like people take relationships really seriously. And I learned
Mm-hmm.
so much from that. So that, you know, those are principles that I really, really, really hold on to here in the States. And sometimes people think
Yeah.
I'm weird, but I'm like, no, but in Brazil, this is okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So true, so true. And one of the things that I love
Yeah.
about here is like, you live in your community, right? So you go to the same grocery store all the time. And then if you happen to travel, you're gone for a week or two, you come back there like,
Mm-hmm.
você sumiu? And it's like, you disappeared. Where have you been? Like, and they genuinely
Yeah.
missed you. They genuinely
Yeah.
noticed that you were gone. I lived in
Yeah.
the same community for years. Well, in the States, and I would like travel, come back. No one even noticed that I was gone. I don't think anybody even knew my name, you know, in any of the stores that I went to in the States. But here it's like they know your name. Even if they don't know your name, they know your face, and they're like, and they're talking to you. So, hey, Regina, for coming on. And let me just read what Brian said. He wrote something here. There will be a learning curve toward work and survival in any new country. At Jasmine and Renee, I too
Mm-hmm.
know the $0 cash in my account while in Brazil. But having a wonderful
Mm-hmm.
second family communities allowed me to recover. Exactly. And I think that's the thing that,
Yes.
Jasmine was saying, feeling safe. The sisterhood did that. And not only the sisterhood, the brotherhood, the familyhood. Let's say
Mm-hmm.
familyhood. Because we had men and,
Family.
and, and ladies, men and women in our familyhood, between
Mm-hmm.
Brian, Seth, Tim. There
Yeah.
was, there was so many. Then we got Gabrielle, Hannah,
Gabby.
Jazz. So
Yeah.
there was a lot of us,
Yeah.
um, Anne Marie. so many. So there's so many different
Yeah.
periods. So, so we had a
Sheena.
familyhood.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. Too many names to say all.
And
Sorry. Oh, and Nefertiti. Got to say
you
Nefertiti.
know,
But
I said my Missy Pooh, and you know what I remember all of the time when I need that push. Do you remember when we went to? I called you and I was like Renee, because I used to always call you with like my crazy ideas. I was like Renee, I think we should
really?
marry ourselves. And when I told you, and then we got the other sisters together. There was about 6 or 7 of us, and we traveled to
Mm-hmm.
Giogo. And you all, like, we
Yes.
planned out a full marriage ceremony. Like, we wrote vows to ourselves. We had
Yes,
a
it's
reception
beautiful.
after and celebrated, and we married ourselves. And when I tell you some things shifted after that,
Yes.
things just changed after we married ourselves. But that's what
Mm.
Brazil does. Like it just brings you closer into a relationship with yourself. And I always say, if you are not loving yourself properly or deeply, how can you love anybody else? And I'm
Exactly.
so grateful that Brazil gave me the opportunity to peel back all of the layers, all of the
Mm-hmm.
conditioning, although I'm still working through some of it.
Mm-hmm.
It gave me the space, right? The space
Mm-hmm.
and the time. Here, even though I'm back in the States, I'm happy to be here. Sometimes life just moves so fast, like so
Mm-hmm.
fast. You know what I mean? You turn around and the day is
Yeah.
done. Brazil gave me the
Yes.
space and the time to do my work so that I could
Mm-hmm.
liberate myself. And I'm forever grateful for that. So that's what these retreats are all about, y'all. We just
Mm-hmm.
want to share that energy and that essence with you because we know what it has done for us and what it continues to do.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
it's
Exactly.
powerful. It's
Yes. So
powerful.
powerful. So powerful.
Hmm.
And it's trusting. And, if you really
Yeah.
feel a calling to come on a retreat, do it. Like we come up with so many excuses. I got to do this. I have to do that. I can't. And it's probably out of fear too, a fear of that change, fear of what's going to happen, But it's like, honestly, we have the power of manifestation to manifest anything that you
Mm-hmm.
want. And so, and that's one of the things
Mm-hmm.
that I've learned here in Brazil. Because again, we've all been with that $0 in cash, and then we've all gotten to the point where we can consistently, have money, do what we want, and or even go back to that zero again, but then get back to it. And so there's never been not one thing that I wanted to do that I couldn't do. While I was living here in Brazil, I
Mm-hmm.
decided I wanted to study transpersonal psychology. I did a postgraduate course, 2-year course in transpersonal psychology in Portuguese, living in a favela, not knowing how I was going to pay for it. But I had in my mind, this course is important. I'm going to learn a lot, not even in barely speaking a language. But I was like, I'm going to do
Mm-hmm.
this. And then again, I did another course, my to become a tantric therapist. So I did a whole nother graduation, and that wasn't cheap. It was expensive, but I found a way, and it happened. And so, I say the same
Yes.
thing. If you want to be on this retreat, you can be on this retreat. Either one of these retreats. In
Mm-hmm.
April, Sacred Sister Soul Retreat. August, Sacred Union Retreat. I say get out of your way. And I say that with love, and I say that because
Mm.
I had to learn how to get out of my way and stop sabotaging, myself from doing what I need to
Mm.
do. Hello, Shauna, thanks for coming in. And I would see
Thank
how I would
you.
sabotage myself all the time and not allow things to flow to come to me. But when I got out of my way and I
Yes.
realized that money is energy, and it's meant to flow,
Yes.
and it gotta flow and it will flow,
Mm.
things started coming. And so, look,
Absolutely.
if you're feeling this, you're feeling this talk, you're feeling us, come on one of these retreats. Put the deposits. You have time to make monthly payments. That makes it easier. It's not like you have to come up with this one lump sum. As Brian was saying earlier, the money conversion right now is really, really great. You don't have to pay for um, a visa anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, it's like, get stop, don't allow the excuses to come in. Invest in yourself. Really do this for you, you know.
Yes, fear is an illusion. Fear is only an illusion. It's not
Mhm.
even real.
Yes.
And I love when you said, let the money flow and let yourself flow. When you are
Mhm.
in the flow, and when I say the flow, I mean when you are letting things to do what they need to do with ease. So if
Mhm.
something doesn't work out, let it not work out with ease,
Right.
right?
Right.
If
Because it's
things
not
are
meant.
working
It's meant to
out,
be.
let everything happen with ease, and that's how we stay in the flow. And
Mhm.
I love that word manifestation. When we are in the flow, which means when we are directly in tune with God or the universe or the Holy Spirit or the chi or the prana, whatever you want to call it,
Mhm.
life force,
Right.
when we allow, when we surrender, when we submit to that energy, then everything else will
Mhm.
follow. Absolutely
Yes.
everything else. And we've all been there.
True.
We know we used to call each other up when we were broke as hell. Like we've all been
Mhm.
there.
Yes.
But we didn't worry. We didn't worry and
Mm-mm.
we didn't trust. We trusted and we knew at the end of the day, excuse me, I'm hungry, so I'm like salivating and stuttering because I'm hungry. But we knew at the end of the day that the love, the LOVE, all this other stuff is temporary. This me, I'm
Mhm.
temporary, right? This iPad, temporary. All of this is
Mhm.
temporary, but the love is the only thing that's going to exist beyond time and space. So as long as you're trusting in that energy, love, that is God, that is the universe,
Right.
you'll always be okay. You'll always be
Yes.
okay. And I know for a fact, love is what has brought me and Renee and our family in Brazil together. That is what brought us together. And we want to love on you. And so we will work with you.
Yes.
We will support you. We will help you to find an effective way to get there. Just reach out. Just reach out. More than anything, we're doing these retreats in Brazil, y'all, but it's really about creating and strengthening community, building
Yes.
community and
Yes.
healing. We need healing. We need a lot
Yes.
of healing and support and love. And that's what these retreats are all about.
Yeah.
So never
And just
hesitate to reach out to it.
Yeah, and just piggybacking on that, on reaching out to us and for that help, we do have 2 scholarships available for both retreats. So we have, yeah,
Yay.
so for both retreats, we have a scholarship for non-Brazilian and a scholarship for Brazilian who speaks English. You have to speak English because it's going to be in English. So, so there are two opportunities in terms of the scholarship. Write a note on here if you're interested and you would like the application to
Mhm.
complete for the scholarship. Just you can message one of us or put it on, in the comments here, and then we'll email it out to you. So there are two opportunities for
Mhm.
scholarship. Yes.
Yes. I'm gonna
All
type that
right.
really
So
quickly,
are you gonna
just
type
in case
that? Okay.
somebody comes.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah,
Yes,
y'all,
Louise.
this is
Thank
the real
you.
deal Holyfield.
Yes.
We're excited about this and we are excited to see it all evolve. Who knows what this will lead to? We're in the flow, so we're just trusting it.
We are in the flow. Exactly.
But
Exactly.
we want you to be a part of it. And like I said, it's about building community and working together. We need unity more than anything right now on
Yes.
this planet. I think that the
Yes.
Amazon rainforest has shown us what it is that we
Mm-hmm.
need to do. And so it is imperative that we stick together. It is
Yes.
imperative that we allow ourselves to receive the healing that we need. It is imperative that we support our brothers and our sisters along their journey because really we all we got.
Mm-hmm.
We all we
Yes.
got, you know? And it is okay to be a teacher. It's okay to be a student. Balance. And that's what our
Mm-hmm.
retreats are all about. So
Yes.
reach out to us. Like Renee said, the scholarships are available. We will work with you. We will support you to make sure that you
Yes.
get to Brazil. Just communicate with us and let us know what you
Yes.
need.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So, any last minute questions from anyone on here before we end? Let us know, write it down, and we can answer. Um, just one last thought from me before we end, and Jasmine will probably say a closing thought as well. Um, you know, I just want to thank everyone really for your continued support. We're getting closer to our 400 views, and that's exciting. We've had like 300 and some views,
Yeah.
close to 400. I'm like, oh my God, so many people are watching this. I want to thank you, people, for those who have been sharing. Please share. You might just really help someone, you know. Who have been feeling the calling to come to Brazil, and they're like, oh my God, I need to come to Brazil. Even if it's not on a retreat, but maybe you might help to, motivate someone to come. So please share this. And those people who have been watching, I've had a few people send me um, comments about how, our work, what we're doing is great and it's needed. I did have one sister, Love Monea, who's on here, who sent me a message. She was like, your work is transformational. She was like, she did, just watching, just, doing some work online with me, how it just transformed her, you know. So I just want to just thank you guys for sharing those comments, um, being here and watching. Share these lives so that other people can ask us questions too, comment, connect with us. And there's just a couple people wrote something here, so let me just read that.
Mhm.
Louise says, how can we stay positive with so many bad things going on? That is a great question. That is a really great question. So let me take a stab at it first, and then you.
Go ahead,
Um,
baby.
okay, so I have on this ring, right? The yin and yang. And what is
Mm-hmm.
the yin and yang? The yin and yang is the balance. And so, within something good, there's something bad within it. Within something bad, there's something good. And it's the even from tantra, we call Shiva and Shakti energies. And so, a lot of times something bad might happen, but there's still going to be something good that comes from it, which
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you may not even see it, but you have to be aware. So, for example, a real tragedy that happened was a 9/11, right? That was tragedy,
Jamaican.
horrible. But one of the good that came from it, the New Yorkers strengthened, combined, they connected more so than ever before. And I'm from New York originally. New Yorkers, you look at somebody, they'd be like, "Why are you looking at me, ready to fight?" But it created a bond and a unity for the people to get together. You know,
Mm-hmm.
our president, I'm not even going to say president, whatever he is, people have gotten together, just to do work to try to, make some type of sanity out of this craziness. So, unfortunately or fortunately, also from the Buddhist perspective, things happen. And it's
Yeah.
us who give a label bad and good.
Mm,
Things naturally happen in the universe. It may not be
mm,
something that you want or I want, but it is. And so it's learning how to accept. And so one of the things through meditation, be it Buddhist meditation, tantric meditation, or any other type of meditation, the aim, in addition to being focused and present, is helping you to accept whatever is happening right now in your life. And
mm,
so once you accept that, whether it's good or bad, again, we give those labels to things that are just are, accepting and saying, okay, this happened. This may not be how I expected or wanted it. Now, what could I do to improve my situation, or what can I do to be happy? If that does that make
mm.
sense? So it's the way that you look at it instead of saying, "Oh my God, there's so many negative things happening," and and then have this defeatist type of mentality. Okay, what can I do to make a difference? This and
Mhm.
this is going on. How can I be an advocate for change? So looking at it and seeing, okay, what can I do differently? How can I change things? How can I make things differently?
And sometimes, what am I doing to create it? You
Ooh,
know what I
yes,
mean? Sometimes saying to self, I have to have these self checks all the time. We create our realities. We
yes.
create our realities with the power of our thought and intention. We create our realities. And so everything always reverts back to self. Absolutely everything, which
Mm-hmm.
means that you take your power back. When we say, you did this to me or you did that to me, we're giving people our power.
Yes.
Instead, you can draw all of that to you and say, what do I need to do to shift my reality? Right? Of course, there are things happening outside of us, but your perception has the power to create what that reality looks like for you. And so, self reflection, having conversations, honest conversations with yourself. And that's what I love so much about Brazil. The essence is so strong, so very strong. So it gives you the opportunity to have a very strong conversation with your spirit. And then you can say to your spirit, what is it that you're teaching me? What are the
Mm-hmm.
lessons that I'm supposed to be learning right now? Because life is full of lessons. Throughout this
Yes.
journey, we are receiving lessons. That's it. Every
Yes.
interaction is a lesson. Every failure is a lesson. Every success
Mm.
perception is a lesson, right? And so when we ask ourselves through this experience, to my spirit, what are you trying to teach me so that I can continue to evolve as a spirit having a human experience? You take your power back.
Yes.
You always have to, girl, don't get me to, hallelujah, don't get me to start preaching here now. But you're
Perfect.
powerful. You're powerful
Yes.
and you're limitless. You're powerful and you're limitless. And again, we're human, we're spirits having a human experience. So it's going to be normal throughout our lifetime to experience so many different emotions. But if, instead of attaching ourselves to those emotions, remember staying in the flow. Stay in the
Yes.
flow and let those emotions teach you and do whatever they need to do and let them flow on. You don't have to
Yes.
attach, like Renee was saying, good or bad to anything. It just is. And everything that just is happening so that you can continue to evolve as a human being because God loves you so much, so very much that absolutely everything that occurs is for your highest good. Everything
Yes.
is for your highest good. Nothing is for
Yes.
your downfall. You
Exactly.
know, the mind tricks and deceives us because we have something called the ego, right? And I don't look at the ego as being a bad thing. The ego is something that we need in order to continue to evolve as spirits and human bodies. But sometimes we got to check our ego and say, okay, I see what you're doing right now. I'm not going to let you trick me and fool me because
Mm-hmm.
I know what this is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Luis
So
says,
you're
"Wow, I'm
powerful.
speechless." He says, "Wow, I'm speechless. Where have I been all this long that I only found you now?" I needed to hear that. Oh, so thank you,
But this is
Luis.
what's
Thank
so
you.
powerful, Louise. This is what's so powerful. I'm just your reflection. So everything that I
Exactly.
just said to you is a reflection of what your spirit was calling for. I don't take no credit
Exactly.
for that.
Exactly. Exactly.
I
So
don't take a
I
lick
want
of
to,
credit.
I do want to read an oath of manifestation. And
Mm,
so I'm going to read it, and I'm going to read a line, and each of you just kind of repeat after me, in your home where you're at. Um, And I think this is really good for those of us who because we've been talking about a manifestation, calling things in that we want. And so this is really beautiful. You can actually find this online as of Oath of Manifestation from Agape Live. I really love Michael Beckworth. He's amazing. So, um, so let's say it now, this Oath of Manifestation. We can close out with this. What do you think? All right.
Yes.
I accept and receive unexpected good,
I accept and receive unexpected good,
unexpected money,
unexpected money.
unexpected love,
Yes, unexpected love,
unexpected kindness,
unexpected kindness,
unexpected generosity,
unexpected generosity,
unexpected offers,
unexpected offers.
unexpected prosperities coming in unexpected ways,
Yes, unexpected prosperity come in unexpected ways.
from unexpected places in my life and the life of others.
From unexpected, say that one more time.
From unexpected places in my life
From unexpected places in my life
and the life of others.
and the life of others.
I am constantly guided
I am constantly guided
and boldly empowered
and boldly empowered
to receive the lavish abundance of the universe.
to receive the lavish abundance of the universe.
Yes, I
Yeah.
accept the principle
I,
that abundance
I accept the principle that abundance
and prosperity have already been given to me.
and prosperity have already been given to me.
My acceptance makes it real
My acceptance makes it real.
and opens the space for manifestation to rush in.
Yes, and opens the space, baby, for manifestation to rush in.
I open wide the doors of my consciousness
I open wide the doors of my consciousness
to receive and to give.
to receive and to give.
It is done now.
It is done now.
Through this oath of manifestation,
Through this oath of manifestation,
all things are possible.
all things are possible.
I declare
I declare
absolutely that I live in a friendly universe
absolutely that I live in a friendly universe
that is always providing for me.
that is always providing for me.
I feel it powerfully happening now.
I feel it powerfully happening now.
I open to receive more abundance
I open to receive more abundance
and to give more abundance
and to give more abundance
than I have ever experienced before.
than I have ever experienced before.
I can afford anything I desire.
I can afford anything that I desire.
Even this retreat.
Even this retreat. Both retreats.
Both retreats. In fact,
In fact,
I am so prosperous,
I am so prosperous.
I never need worry again.
I never need worry again.
I am grateful for all that I already have
I am grateful for all that I already have
and grateful for all that I am ready to give.
and grateful for all that I am ready to give.
I keep myself lifted in high consciousness,
I keep myself lifted in high consciousness,
no matter what the appearances are.
no matter what the appearances are.
God is all there is.
God is all there is.
I let the God times roll.
I let the God times roll, baby.
And so it is.
And so it is, so be it. Ashe and amen.
Yes.
Yo, and we just did that together. So that is super
Yes.
powerful whenever two
Super
or more
powerful.
agree.
Yes.
Thank you for being a part of that experience, you all. Thank you, Renee.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
But with our talk, with the questions that Louise was asking, and Jimmy, I was like, the oath of manifestation is needed right now. That would be beautiful to close out with. So I thank you guys. I thank each and every one of you that was here tonight, that came on. that wrote, love you guys. You are all in my heart. And listen, Jimmy, read this oath of manifestation every day. And then, Louise, you remind me of Lisa Nicole. She's one of my
That's
mentors.
awesome.
She's a
She's
motivational talker. So
amazing.
thank you. She's amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I accept. So, guys, look this up. I'll write it down. Or it's Agape Live, and it's called the Oath of Manifestation. Are you going to type it or should I type it?
I got it.
You got it? Okay, so Agape,
Uh-huh.
Agape, the Oath of Manifestation. So you guys can look that up. Read it every day. Read it with a partner if you can. Read it if you don't have somebody there to read it with you. Read it by yourself. And let's get here on one of these retreats. Good night, all. Okay, Renee, I will bless. Yes. Good night, everyone. We
Good
both are
night,
hungry. We
lovers.
got to eat, and we will see you next week.
Keep
Same
flying high.
time.
Keep the vibes. Keep the
Yes.
vibes high, y'all.
Yes, same time, same bat station. Peace.
Beijos.
Beijos.